Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te accused China of escalating its influence campaigns and infiltration efforts against the island, which Beijing seeks to lie high military drills, trade sanctions and ongoing campaigns aimed at thwarting its sovereignty claims. Security meeting Beijing sectors of Taiwan, including organised crime groups, media figures and both current and former military and police officers. Meanwhile, Taiwan's Ministry of National Defence reported 20 sorties of People's Liberation Army aircraft, 7 naval vessels and 1 official ship in Taiwanese waters. According to the president, Taiwan remains committed to defending its sovereignty and democracy, with President Lai reaffirming the island's stance against Beijing's increasing pressure. Let us take a listen to what the Taiwanese president had to say.
数十年来，中国并吞台湾，消灭中华民国的野心，没有一天改变。
We are now joined by my colleague Thomas Porteous, anchor and correspondent, to discuss this escalating situation even further. Thomas, thank you very much for joining us. We've seen, of course, what Lai has accused China of doing, but what do you think the response will be from the Taiwanese?
So it is important to the Taiwanese that they keep track of these Taiwan, outside of Taiwan. There's to respond by the Taiwanese on a daily basis when these aircraft vessels come into their airspace and around the island. The first thing is monitoring and surveillance. Taiwan's armed forces track and monitor these Chinese vessels continuously, assessing any potential threats. They also deploy scrambling air patrols. The Ministry of National Defence, they deploy these combat air patrols, which involve dispatching these fighter jets to intercept and observe any intruding aircraft, any intruding vessels, ensuring that they do not violate Taiwan's airspace in particular. Naval vessel deployment is also something that reoccurs when these military drills go on. They dispatch ships to shadow and monitor once again these Chinese naval vessels that happen near its waters. The last thing is the activation of land-based missile systems. If anything were to happen, if these movements by the Chinese were to turn aggressive, Taiwan activates these land-based missile systems to ensure they have some defence.
Yes, and Thomas, looking of course at the impact that we might see off the back of these drills, in your opinion, is there any wider regional or global implications given the continued action by China?
Well, of course, the United States is a long time ally of Taiwan. Admiral Samuel Paporo, commander of the United States, this could escalate, and these drills that have been happening again and again could potentially actual attack, suggesting these rehearsals might be for full unification. Japan has experienced increased military establishment of radar sites and military bases. This is to prepare for the possibility of against the island of Taiwan. Australia, again, is closely monitoring the Chinese warships that have doing these training drills near them as well. In Taiwan, we obviously saw these Australian flights being cancelled over these live fires that China was committing in the Tasman Sea in this time. And so it's we'll say the Taiwan, but this thing that is going tightly on edge itself to make sure that it is ready if something.
And to having, you mentioned it there, these drills are happening on a basis throughout the recent months. What's different, if any, happening and China's efforts in terms of them ramping up?
Well, nothing is really that different about today's activities. We see this happen on a very, very regular basis. Taiwan is always it's in check to do these responses to make sure that China's efforts don't turn aggressive. China has been vocal that it sees Taiwan as part of its territory, and people from the outside are getting prepared into when China might actually use military action to take Taiwan militarily, which could be a possibility. This is an ongoing situation, a constantly situation, and there are eyes all around the world.
Thomas Porteous, thank you very much for joining us. You will be staying with us, but we move on to Europe, and Russia's Federal Security Service has said that a series of attacks against